fighting for the values that make Nebraska the good life. This is Drive Time Nebraska with Doug Fitzgerald on 1499.3 KLIN.
Crazy. What a crazy 24 hours that we've had. We had the surprise retirement announcement of Coach John Cook from the Husker volleyball team. That news broke literally yesterday as we were coming on the air. And then last night, just horrific. American Airlines plane carrying 60 passengers and 4 crew members collided with an Army Black Hawk helicopter outside of Reagan National Airport near Washington, D.C. And the fire official there said that there are no survivors, and the accident took 67 lives from both aircraft. So our hearts break for them, and our prayers and thoughts are with them and their families today. We're going to kick off the show, joined by a friend of the show, Senator Deb Fischer. Senator, thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate you carving out some time for us.
Oh, always good to visit with you, Doug. Thank you.
You bet. Well, first of all, I just mentioned about that devastating accident that happened near Reagan National Airport. I'm sure you fly in there all the time. What are your thoughts regarding that?
A horrible accident. Obviously, we haven't seen a commercial accident like that for years. It's horrible it happened, the number of people that died because of it. Obviously, we're sending our condolences to all the families that are suffering this loss right now. We're trying to wait until the investigations take place. They were able to raise the plane this afternoon on Commerce Committee. That's where we'll be learning a lot of the facts on what happened with this accident and be able to hopefully make sure that something like this doesn't happen again. Yeah,
President Trump had his press conference today, and what I'm really liking about what he's doing in his second term here is just transparency. He's just coming out and being very transparent with information, which is great. Yesterday, we also got the surprise news and the announcement that John Cook is retiring. Obviously, somebody that so many people in the state look up to and the country in the whole area of volleyball. What are your thoughts in Coach Cook's retirement decision?
Oh, we're going to miss him.
Yes.
For sure. That's a thing. Being selfish here, Nebraska is going to miss him. What an incredible career the coach has had. Just a first-class guy. Wonderful person, wonderful coach. Watching him and his players achieve all the successes that they've had has been great for our state, great for our young people to see that hard work pays off. I've listened to the coach when he speaks to different groups. A couple years ago, he was speaking to a bunch of cattlemen at a banquet, and just inspirational speaker. I hosted him one time for a State of the Union. He came out for the dinner in the Senate ahead of time, and just to watch him in different settings, a remarkable man, and I wish him well in his retirement.
Yeah, his phrase was "dream big," and I tell you what, he put Nebraska on the United States map and the world map in regards to women's volleyball, and just such an impact that he's had. Now coliseums and auditoriums around the country are selling out because of the Huskers. It's really cool.
Yeah, we have 4 national championships, 12 Final Fours, 14 conference championships, and a world record with over 92,000 fans at a game in 2023. That's pretty cool to have numbers like that.
Well, you've been burning the candle at both ends, getting President Trump's agenda implemented. One of his campaign promises that he's making good on immediately is securing our southern border, also doing deporting of illegal immigrants and criminals that are here illegally. And we're also hearing from a lot of Nebraska citizens that are concerned about the potential deportations across the state. From your perspective right now, how is the border security process going as it's starting to play out?
Well, the president's focused on protecting Americans. He wants to make sure that we have a secure border. Every nation has to have a secure border. That's what I hear from Nebraskans all the time. The last 2 years, traveling the state, hitting the trail hard, that's the number one issue. making sure that we have a secure border and that Americans are going to be protected. And President Trump is following through with that. He's deporting illegal immigrants who are here, who have entered this country, especially over the last 4 years. Recently in Congress, just this last week, we passed the Lake and Riley Act, which gives the administration the ability to detain these criminals who commit murder, sexual assault, kidnapping, robbery, and send them out of our country. They entered illegally. They need to be sent out.
I agree. That's it's good that it's happening. And it started from the first minute he took office. So, and you were there, by the way. I didn't even, I've been wanting to talk to you about this. You, during the inauguration, you were everywhere. It was so fun to see it. Everybody was talking about it. I was just like, there's our senator right there. You were forefront everywhere.
It was, it was just really such a great experience. First of all, Senator Amy Klobuchar and I, as chairman and ranking member on the Rules Committee last Congress, it was our responsibility to plan the inauguration. And so we've been working on that, for 18 months. And then 3 days out, we had to switch it and move it inside the rotunda because of the weather. But because of my involvement in the planning of it, I was able to invite the University of Nebraska at Lincoln,
yes,
the combined choir, which was. Gosh, it was just so moving to hear those folks perform in the rotunda of the United States Capitol. And I keep hearing wonderful reviews on them. I was able to have the Nebraska beef, a Nebraska ribeye for the luncheon, which is a tradition after the inauguration. We served the president and members of Congress, some justices from the Supreme Court, new cabinet members, and the president's family and friends, of course, a luncheon in Statuary Hall. So we're at the head table there. I'm sitting with Melania Trump and the speaker on each side of me, and got to be right there by Standing Bear statue. Yep. Nebraska was just front and center, and what a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to highlight our beautiful state.
All right, I have to ask you this, because you were sitting right in front in the inauguration, right next to Kamala Harris. You were right behind Carrie Underwood singing. You had the presidents there from that are still around, that are still alive. You had obviously President Trump. You had Franklin Graham. I mean, what was it like sitting in front, like having literally the front row seat?
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. It's just pretty amazing to be there. Behind me were 9 Supreme Court justices. As you said, former presidents, to be there with President Biden and the vice president. My husband, Bruce, he was on the other side. He had a part to play in this as well. He got to be there right with President Trump and J.D. Vance, and we got to have tea at the White House beforehand. It was just a really, really once-in-a-lifetime experience.
Well, you had the opportunity as well to watch President Trump sign his first executive orders, and he's had a whirlwind of them lately, one of which is going to have a positive impact, I believe, on Nebraska, where he declared a national energy emergency, which orders the EPA to consider issuing emergency fuel waivers to allow year-round sale of E15. How can this potentially impact Nebraskans?
Well, that's a huge deal there for Nebraskans. Obviously, ag is the economic engine of the state of Nebraska. So to be able to help our corn farmers, our biofuel people, it's important. We've had these waivers for year-round sale of E15 for the last 5 years. In the continuing resolution we were trying to get passed at the end of last year, We were able to get that in to make it permanent, to have year-round sale of E15. We were able to get that in, and then at the last minute, it was pulled out. So it was important that President Trump, his first executive order, addressed E15. He understands the importance of all of the above energy policy. We have the resources in this country to be able to be energy dominant. We have the resources in this country, if managed correctly. It's going to be helpful in lowering cost. That's one thing when we look at inflation and the cost of living has gone up and how people are being burdened by prices. Energy prices, if we're able to get those lower, that's going to affect prices across the board, and it's going to help with that. I've had some national media people say, "Well, when are prices going to go down?" And yesterday I just looked at this young reporter, and I couldn't help myself. I started to laugh, and I said, "Hey," I said, "you're kidding me." I said, "This administration's been in office here a little over a week." I said, "I didn't hear you ever ask me this question in the last 4 years."
Yeah, that's funny, isn't it? You have been, like, I've seen you all over the news, so it's been really neat to see that. You brought up Carrie Underwood. Yeah. And when the music didn't come, I want to clarify, that wasn't Amy and I. That wasn't our deal. She had her own. She had her own music. But what was fun there? I never realized that on my bucket list, I was going to be able to check off a backup singer for Carrie Underwood. That's right. And as we're standing there doing that, it couldn't have been more perfect because what a pro. She looks at the crowd. She goes, "Sing with me." And everybody's standing. It's great. You couldn't have scripted that any better. It was so neat to have her include everybody in that process. So, and to watch everybody sing along. That's awesome. Yeah, it was. All right, we're going to wrap things up here on my nationally syndicated show, Senator, One Shot, One Life. The final question I always ask my guests on that show is what I call the multiplier question. And I thought, you know what, you're my last official live guest on Drive Time Nebraska until I step down. And it's just part of my journey. I'll be around and doing other things. But here's the question that I thought would be great for our listeners to hear your answer to. What's one thing, Senator, that you wish you would have known earlier in life that would have made a greater impact on you and those around you? I think you need to take advantage of opportunities that come to you. A lot of times people, they warn you, don't get yourself overloaded, and so you have to learn to say no. I think we have to learn to say yes. I think we have to be able to figure out what the risks are in life and try to weigh those risks, and then stretch yourself and say yes and work hard. When I was in the Nebraska legislature and I first went down, a lot of people thought my focus was going to be on education because I'd been on a school board for 20 years. That's my degree's in, and I love it. But instead, my main focus ended up, I chaired the Transportation Telecommunications Committee. When I came here to the United States Senate, I get on Armed Services Committee, and after 2 terms, I have now been recognized as really being an expert when it comes to strategic forces. Our nuclear arsenal, our missile defense, space is a warfighting domain. Who would have ever thought? Seriously, who would have ever thought that? But the opportunity presented itself. You take a risk, you grab onto it, you work hard, and you say yes and you stretch yourself. I couldn't agree more. I could talk to you for the whole hour. I wish I could have you the whole hour. It reminds me of Dr. Warren Wiersbe from Lincoln, Nebraska. He's passed away. I had some time to spend with him. Probably one of the most prolific Christian authors of our time, 178 books. But he met with me one day and he said, "Doug, the world was created by people who said, 'I can.'" And that's exactly what you said. You just go out there and say, "I can do this," and then make it happen. So, Senator, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure getting to know you, and I wish you the absolute best. And I just appreciate you being on the show today.
Thank you, Doug. I wish you the best, and I look forward to having opportunities to have conversations with you in the future.
Absolutely. It's not done. It's just part of the journey. So,
Great.
All right. Have a great rest of your night. Thanks, Senator.
Thank you.
You bet. Always so fun to talk to her. She is so encouraging and so uplifting. And I like it. Imagine that. Just what she said. Go for the yes, right? I've had to carve out some time over the last few months just to change the direction of my life and some things that I'm doing because I'm stepping up to the plate in different areas. And it's uncomfortable. I'm just telling you that right now. But she was just at the forefront, all because she said, hey, I'm going to run in different public offices. Now she's at the forefront, literally with not only the inauguration, but the effects of the inauguration. Now she's on different newscasts, and she just called from a production studio. So she's probably at Fox or something right now. And it's just fun to see that. And that's a great lesson and a great encouragement for all of us, just to go after it, get after it, and take things on in your life and try to achieve some awesome things. All right, we're going to take a break here. I know this was a long first segment, but I'm going to come back. We're going to dig deeper into the shenanigans going on with the Lancaster County Commissioners, kind of one of my last rants. I've got some more information. The mayor's tax increase and fear-mongering, I got more information there. I just found a way to make some more money. So stay tuned for that. Plus, if we've got time, I'm going to welcome in creator and one of the previous interviews I had with one of my dear friends, creator of P90X and America's Trainer, Tony Horton. And he's got some great just insight and inspiration. And his story, his near-death story of how his health literally almost took his life. Now he's, 66 years old. And he looks like he's 20. So I look forward to hearing from him. All right, we're going to take the break here. And when we come back, we'll hear more about what's going on with the commissioners and the mayor. Thanks for listening to Drive Time Nebraska.
Stay informed and stay engaged.
They keep me up to date.
KLIN, Lincoln.
Americans love using their credit cards, the most secure and hassle-free way to pay. But D.C. politicians want to change that with the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill. This bill lets corporate megastores pick how your credit card is processed, allowing them to use untested payment networks that jeopardize your data security and rewards. Corporate megastores will make more money, and you pay the price. Tell Congress to guard your card, because Americans lose when politicians choose. Learn more at guardyourcard.com. Paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
There's something to be said for American-made, but at Monolith, we're helping create Nebraska-made. From here in Nebraska, we're producing low-emission carbon black for tires across North America. Soon we'll be providing farmers with locally made fertilizer to reduce our reliance on foreign imports. We're investing hundreds of millions in our multiple Nebraska facilities and employing Nebraskans in high-paying jobs that support families and communities. Monolith, Nebraska-made.
You're listening to Drive Time Nebraska with Doug Fitzgerald. Disagree with Doug? The guests? The topic? Call or text 402-479-1400 now to be a part of the show. KLIN weather brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Cloudy and cool this evening with a 50% chance of rain, temperature dropping into the upper 30s by midnight. After midnight, cloudy and chilly with a 30% chance of rain, low in the low 30s. Friday, partly cloudy with a 20% chance of rain early, then mostly sunny, mild and breezy, high around 50. From the 1011 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Brandon Rector.
KLIN Time Saver Traffic, delivered by Paisanos, Lincoln's best brick oven pizza.
On the downhill side of our drive time traffic, no accidents or major delays. Most everyone doing a great job. A few volume slowdowns, and we do have a few construction projects. We'll want to watch for lane shifts and lane closures. Keep in mind, West A Street, Southwest 30th to Southwest 27th, that is closed for a paving project. And work continues on 1st Street from Charleston to Cornhusker, southbound shift to the northbound lanes. Make sure the headlights are on. If you come across anything that slows you down, call the traffic hotline 402-479-1414. Lincoln's listening to Time Saver Traffic.
Tackling the issues that truly matter to Nebraskans head on. With the occasional targeting call, this is Drive Time Nebraska with Doug Fitzgerald, 1499.3 KLIN.
Well, welcome back to the show. We want to thank Lincoln Coin and Bullion for taking care of us here, being a sponsor for me and One Shot, One Life as well for years now. And they do a great job. So I highly recommend that you go check them out. They are awesome people. We had them on the show on Monday, and it's just so good to hear real people dealing with people's finances from hundreds of dollars to millions of dollars. And all they want to do is help you. They want to help protect you and give you the right information. If you're looking at buying gold, silver, platinum, or palladium, they are the place to go. So call them up or go to their website, lincolncoinandbullion.com, for more information. And if you go there, tell them you heard it on Drive Time Nebraska. All right, we've got a short segment here, but I wanted to touch upon something that we talked about with Senator Deb Fischer there in the previous segment. And by the way, go back and listen to that. That was really good. It was fun to hear just where she's at now and the responsibility and leadership she's taken on, both in the inauguration but also in the Senate, is making a tremendous difference for our state. And Wyatt said during the break, man, we got some good people representing us in Washington, D.C., and she is one of those. But she was talking about President Bush getting right after it, after the inauguration, first minute really after he was up, he was talking and doing a great job. Here's what I want to say. Today, we've all heard about the horrific air accident between the airplane and the Black Hawk helicopter just outside of Reagan Washington National Airport. 67 people lost their lives. Our thoughts and prayers are with them. And I watched pretty much all of the press conference that President Trump put on today. And I've seen posts on social media where people have said, I can't believe he didn't do X, Y, and Z. Well, here's the reality. You took bits and pieces out of that and you didn't watch the whole thing, because he started out with a moment of silence, his thoughts for those who had lost their lives and their families, everything that they were, the government's going to do to help them and serve them during this time. He did that twice, as a matter of fact, the beginning and the end. He did a moment of silence and all. So don't go saying he doesn't care, he doesn't have a heart. That's just a bunch of baloney. But the point I want to get to is the transparency that he's taking on in this second term of his. He just went out and said, listen, there are problems here. Something went on, and I'm going to give some of my thoughts right now. And he just went into it. He just said, you know what? There have been some executive orders for air traffic controlling going on that just isn't right. And it was put in by the Biden administration. And now we're finding out the truth of this. And people always give him a hard time, like saying, hey, we're going to rename the Gulf of Mexico, Gulf of America. That wasn't just something he decided to do for the fun of it. Do you know that was all part of an executive order that Biden had put into place to stop drilling in the Gulf of Mexico? So what did Trump do? Let's rename the shoreline Gulf of America, which gives us the legal ability to drill, baby, drill. There's an intention behind everything. He released the Kennedy assassination papers, and everything's been private for how many years? 50 plus years. He released all the information they knew about the drones in New Jersey. He's just releasing. He's being transparent with us. What president has ever done that? And he gets up today and says, listen, there have been executive orders that the Biden administration put into place to say, listen, there are people that are underserved, that are mentally incapacitated or mentally unfit or handicapped in some way. And they need to be serving as air traffic controllers specifically. And he's like, no, we are going to keep our airwaves safe and protected. We're going to put the best of the best. J.D. Vance gets up and said, listen, we're going to put the best of the best. We're not standing by and just, going to let DEI and all this stuff about how we have to be fair to everybody. The reality is certain jobs, you have to have the best or else people's lives are in danger. So here's what just came out about an hour ago. Staffing at Reagan Washington National Airport air control tower was not normal on the night of the collision. And see, Trump came out and said, hey, here are my thoughts on this. We've got the wrong people in the wrong places at the time. I don't know for sure. We're going to investigate, but this is just my opinion. What president does that? Normally they're like, don't say anything, Mr. President. You can cause yourself trouble. An internal preliminary report by the FAA reportedly showed that the number of staff members working at the air control tower at Ronald Reagan National Airport was, quote, not normal for the time of day and volume of traffic. On Wednesday night, American Airlines plane and the Army helicopter collided. 67 people lost their lives. And what they found out is the position. One person was doing the work of two people, and they shouldn't have been. It was understaffed. Understaffed. I am so grateful for President Trump being in there and just a total 180 breath of fresh air to say, listen, things are too important in this life to not get taken care of. And it's too important for us to be hiding information from the American public. And now he's out there sharing it. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to dig into the county commissioners and all the fiasco going on there. Some shenanigans and inbreeding support. And then the mayor, fear-mongering, wants to raise your taxes. And I've come out with 6 different ways to make up the money to help take care of our roads and this tax she wants to do. I just found millions and millions and millions of more dollars that we could maybe tap into if we want to fix our roads. All right, cities from across the state and the country listening to Drive Time Nebraska.
Your city, your voice.
The border is our biggest problem right now.
Talk radio powered by you.
If we don't say something, nothing will change.
The voice of Lincoln is 1499.3 KLIN.
At Lincoln Coin and Bullion, your privacy is their priority. Secure your confidential appointment to buy or sell silver and gold today with Nebraska's largest historic currency and bullion dealer.
Everything's a little better when it's super. Heroes, markets, sized, and of course, checks. A super check gives you an in-depth review of your current insurance coverage with a Farm Bureau Financial Services agent, no matter who your insurance provider is. That's super cool. Talk to a Farm Bureau agent to make sure you're properly covered at fbfs.com/protect. It's your future. Let's protect it. Farm Bureau Property and Casualty Insurance Company, Western Agricultural Insurance Company.
Every child deserves a mentor. Teammates Mentoring of Lincoln believes in the power of one-on-one relationships to build hope. Be the support you needed when you were young. Give a student the gift of time, friendship, and trust. Be there to simply listen, encourage, and focus on their strengths. Commit to spending 1 hour per week with a student who needs you. Make a difference in a child's life and become a mentor with Teammates. Together, we can create a stronger community. Visit LincolnTeammates.org to learn more.
You're listening to Drive Time Nebraska with Doug Fitzgerald. More of the show coming up on 1499.3 KLIN. KLIN weather brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Cloudy and cool this evening with a 50% chance of rain. Temperature dropping into the upper 30s by midnight. After midnight, cloudy and chilly with a 30% chance of rain. Low in the low 30s. Friday, partly cloudy with a 20% chance of rain early. Then mostly sunny, mild and breezy. High around 50. From the 1011 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Brandon Rector.
KLIN Time Saver Traffic, delivered by Paisanos, Lincoln's best brick oven pizza.
Wrapping up our traffic reports, we do have a new slow spot, South 27th at Mance. That's just south of Sheridan Boulevard. Southbound lanes running slow due to an accident, South 27th and Mance Avenue. A few volume slowdowns persist, and we do have several construction projects. We'll want to watch for lane shifts and lane closure. Keep in mind South 56 from South Street to Calvert, north and southbound lane closures, and a full closure from Normal to Van Dorn, southbound for utility work. Make sure the headlights are on. Keeping you moving with Time Saver Traffic. I'm Chris Lofgren.
Draining threes on the issues that truly matter to Nebraskans, with the occasional technical or two. This is Drive Time Nebraska with Doug Fitzgerald on 1499.3 KLIN.
Boy, oh boy, I haven't even announced this yet, Wyatt. We get an extra half hour today. How about that? We're going for, well, till 6:30. We have the women's basketball game coming up, starting pregame at 6:30, and they're taking on Purdue. And so they said, hey, Doug, can you cover another half hour before everything starts? I'm like, heck yeah. I got one more show left. So when do they ever give me an extra 30 minutes, Wyatt? Well, technically it'll be about 20, but anyway. All right, let's get into this. I've got some information. I think we'll probably finish out the next last 50 minutes here on all this. I do want to get into the Lincoln's mayor and her wanting to raise your taxes. Before I do that, Karen, thanks so much for commenting on social media. Jerry, thank you for your text coming in. He said, thank goodness Deb Fischer won re-election and not Dan Osborne. Yes, we talked about that in studio yesterday. And then Art, thank you so much. He said, Doug, I wish you would give us a hint of what's next. One of your biggest fans. So I'll probably do that tomorrow, Art. Last day, I'll probably just dig in and reminisce a little bit. I am going to play a clip from Paul Harvey the very first clip I played on the first show that I did. We'll just bookend it. If I Were the Devil. He did that decades ago, and it's so relevant today. So, all right, well, let's get into this. As many of you know, maybe not, maybe, I share this at different times, but I'm going to at least keep bringing this up today. Two things. The city of Lincoln's Mayor Larian Gaylor Baird, wants to raise your taxes, and she's asking the city council to do that, to put it on the ballot in April, on April 8th to be specific. She wants you to vote a tax hike for yourself. I say no. It's a 1/4 cent tax hike for Lincoln on the Move, which has brought in about $18 million over the last almost 8 years, I think, for the city of Lincoln to work on roads, which is funny because we got some of the worst roads in the country. And that's both sides, people calling in, right? No matter where you fall politically, everybody agrees. We got some of the worst roads. But they want to raise, she wants you to, it ends in September. That 1/4 cent tax hike, supposedly going to all the roads, ends in September. She wants you to re-up for another 8 years to take care of the roads. And I say no. It's all about fear-mongering. Because she says, you know what, if you don't vote for this, then the quality of life is at risk here in Lincoln. And even our public safety, quote unquote. That's what the mayor says. It's going to be a severe blow to our community's momentum, she says, if it does not pass. City council met on earlier this week about it, and they decided to table it because a lot of people went in, and a lot of you listeners went in and said, nope, we don't want this. And so they tabled the vote, I think, for next week or whenever they meet again. I'm going to get into a couple of the amendments that they have because I thought this was really interesting. One of the things that people say is, well, Doug, if you're going to not want this tax increase, then what's your answer? And so I've gone through a bunch. I've listed several different ways we can earn back this $18 million a year that they're bringing in with the sales tax. The first one is $18 million is about 5% of the total city budget, approximately $350 million total. I say cut the budget. I went through budget numbers today. I went through all kinds of budget numbers today. And there's a lot of spending that we spend in this city where we can make up and add that money to roads. You can trim 5% of the fat. That was number one. Number two, what about the excess funds, carryover funds? Last year, $16 million extra money that wasn't spent in the budget. They had. Tom Duden, way to go, buddy, because you voted against this. But they just had to spend that extra money rather than give it back to the people. All right, there's number two. Number three, gambling taxes, $1.3 million of funds, discretionary. The city and the county get to spend that money however they want. They got about $1.3 million. Number four, wheel taxes. You see Ken just texted in and said, hey, where are wheel taxes going? I'll get to possibly get to some of that stuff here in just a little bit. But yes, where are the wheel taxes going? The top two taxes we pay in the city, wheel tax or car tax, and property taxes, killing our young families and mid-families and older families. Wheel tax alone, $77 for a car, $111 for a truck each year. It's about $25 to $30 million. Who's managing those funds and where's it going? Number 5, what about the fuel tax? 29.6 cents per every single gallon that you fill up at your tank. $7.5 dollars every time I fill up my truck. Yes, Richard, I love my truck. So she wants to do this. She announced it a couple of weeks ago. 24 hours later, she announces that we get a federal grant from the Biden administration for $66 million at the 33rd and Cornhusker Railroad area that they want to redo. She listed that as the third priority for the sales tax. A minimum of 1.5% of that sales tax, that quarter-cent sales tax, is to be going to this project. Minimum, which means it could go a lot higher than that. Then 24 hours later, she promotes the sales tax. 24 hours later, she said, oh, the Biden administration just gave us $66 million for that project. Do you think she's going to give that money back? No. All right. Now, let's go into some other areas. Oh, we probably need to take a break. Should we take a break, Wyatt, or not? All right, so here's the deal. Let's take a quick break. And when I come back, there is $70 million that I'd like to talk about. There's another $74 million that I'd like to talk about. And then, you're not going to believe this. One of the amendments that they want the city council to approve getting this on the ballot pays a firm to convince you to vote for it. And I'll reveal how much money that is going to be out of the city budget. Unbelievable. I don't get it. All right. Thanks for listening to Drive Time Nebraska. We'll be back right after this.
Get today's top news and sports directly to your inbox. Sign up for the Daily at KLIN.com. Does your business need quick, competitive financing for heavy machinery, trucks, or other equipment? Currency is here to help. Whether you're financing construction equipment, farm equipment, trucks, trailers, or any other big-ticket item, Currency will automatically find the best rates. Currency facilitates loans for up to $500,000 with repayment terms up to 72 months. It's fast, easy, and free to use. Visit GoCurrency.com and apply today.
Melody always puts her kids first. It's been hard the past few years. Her daughter Missy nominated her for a warm winter wish.
My baby sister had passed away. Then my older sister was diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia. My mom had to be there for us while she never got to grieve herself.
Bryant was honored to replace Melody's failing 30-year-old furnace to warm her home and family.
Thank you.
And thanks to Central Plains Distributing, Cornhusker Winelson, FTP Speed Shop, Froggy 98, KLIN, and Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Elevate your everyday drive at Woodhouse Hyundai. Lease the 2025 Hyundai Elantra SE for just $299 per month. And when you shop Woodhouse Hyundai, you can rest easy with Hyundai's owner assurance, America's best 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Visit us online at woodhousehyundai.com or woodhouseplacehyundai.com today. 36 months, 10,000 miles per year with approved credit. Tax, title, license extra. $500 down plus first payment and $299 doc fee due at signing. Stock number H250172. Offer expires January 31st, 2025. See dealer for details.
You're listening to Drive Time Nebraska with Doug Fitzgerald. More of the show coming up on 1499.3 KLIN. KLIN weather brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Cloudy and cool this evening with a 50% chance of rain. Temperature dropping into the upper 30s by midnight. After midnight, cloudy and chilly with a 30% chance of rain. Low in the low 30s. Friday, partly cloudy with a 20% chance of rain early. Then mostly sunny, mild and breezy. High around 50. From the 1011 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Brandon Rector.
Now back to more Drive Time Nebraska with Doug Fitzgerald on 1499.3 KLIN.
All right, welcome back to the show. Mark, thanks so much for messaging in on social media. I appreciate that. He just said, awesome job on research possibilities for roads. Let's keep going before we hit the top of the hour here. All right, so I just laid out I don't know now, Wyatt. I'm losing track. People say, well, you just come up with a solution, Doug. I say, all right. My main solution is let's get rid of the mayor. Let's put somebody in there that'll manage this and not spend a ton of money on somebody else's, taking our hard-earned money and just throwing it out there. Sick and tired of it. All right. So I don't know how many it was. Go back and listen to the podcast, KLIN.com. But let's talk about the city council. The mayor wants the city council to approve to get on the April 8th primary for you to raise your own taxes 0.25% for 8 more years. Let's start with this one first. In the fact sheet for them to vote on, the city council members to vote on, it says this. Okay. All right. So this is the mayor asking the city council members to get this on the ballot, and they have to approve this. So they'll vote on it at some point. It says this, quote, to ensure that Lincoln residents understand the issues surrounding needed street improvements, the options for funding them, and the costs associated with those improvements. Listen close. The city will engage in a robust community education and engagement effort, including hiring a professional consultant, Bullhorn Communications, at a cost of $248,396. So now the city is going to pay to advertise to you and me to vote for the 1/4 cent sales tax. That's your money. It's my money. Where's that money going to come out of? Which pot's that one going to come out of? Mayor? Oh my goodness. Then I have all these forms and sheets and papers from this. Another one of the things that they have to vote on is an impact fee inflationary freeze. So the impact fee from different taxes, wheel taxes, all that kind of stuff, they want to freeze it till the 8 years is over. And then once it's over, once the tax is done, then they can add to their funds based upon inflation, but not previous year inflation. That's a budget cut right there. I don't know how much that is, but there's some money. So now we got an extra $250,000 that's going to go to a professional consultant to encourage you to vote for it. We've got impact fee inflationary freeze throughout the entirety of this tax hike if it gets passed. Okay, how about this one? I just got word from a very, and I know it's out there, I know the form's out there, I haven't seen the form, but completely reliable source, that the city has $70 million cash on hand right now. Just saying. Just sitting there, cash on hand. All right, so there's 70 million. You can take 10 of that. I don't know. I believe in having a slush fund in case, emergency fund in case something happens, but let's keep going. So there's another, we can take some money out of there a little bit if we needed to. How about another? Well, I think I'm getting towards 10 now. Then I was made aware of this one. City of Lincoln has the Community Health Permanent Endowment Fund. The fund was started from the proceeds of the sale of Lincoln General Hospital in 1997. The Community Health Endowment provides funding to community organizations who use boldness, creativity, passion, and expertise to make Lincoln a healthier place to live, work, and raise a family. It prioritizes investments in early prenatal care, healthy food access, youth fitness, mental wellness, human connection. You could relate that back to roads. You can't connect with people unless you're driving on the roads, and the roads might cause mental illness and frustration because they're not taken care of, and it's the top thing that people complain about. Anyway, I go down the trail here. That fund started at $37 million. I think Mike Johans was the mayor at the time. All right. So this is both sides here, but Now that $37 million, according to the fund, has to be maintained. Like they have to keep the $37 million. They can't dip any deeper than the $37 million. And that they're asked to invest that so it can be around for future generations. Now get this. At the end of the fiscal year, August 31st, 2024, so just a few months ago, the fund had, it's supposed to maintain $37 million. And it's been going since 1997. How long is that? 97. That's as old as my son. So 27 years, 26 years. Okay. So it's been going for 26 years, 27 years. The fund has in it right now it did in August 31st of last year, $74,656,490. Now, here's the interesting thing about this. I know it sounds great causes. You go to the website and you got all these great organizations that I support, many of them. Right. But this is a fund started with $37 million, and it had in the last few months over $74 million in it. So how much do you think over time they would have donated over the last 27 years to these organizations? A lot, right? On the website, they boast that since the creation in 1997, the endowment has returned more than $40 million within the city of Lincoln, while growing, this is what it says, while growing the endowment at the rate of inflation for future generations. They're just supposed to keep it above 37 million. There's almost $40 million on top of that in there right now. And and they're expecting it to continue, if you look at the projections, to increase every year. Come on. Oh my goodness, we got all kinds of texts coming in. We'll get to them after the break here because we're going an extra half hour. They give me some more time. And I'm gonna scrap what I was gonna plan to do, and we're gonna keep talking about this. This drives me crazy, my friends. This is mismanagement of funds. The advisory board who is leading this endowment, I know that these funds have gone to help some great organizations, but why is there nearly $75 million in this fund right now when you only need to keep 37? Maybe we can change the way the fund is done, directed. It's a lot of money. Plus, there's $70 million in cash on hand in the city. So I think I've come up with at least 9 different ways. How about my final way? How about my final way to add funds for city streets? How about we elect leaders that will cut the fat and effectively manage your money and my money? Cutting our taxes, not raising them, Mayor. She's like, no, this isn't raising taxes. This is just extending taxes. No, this is raising taxes. It's even said in these amendments. That drives me nuts. All right. So you're going to hear me say, at least for today, vote no on Lincoln on the Move and vote yes on candidates who will do a lot better dang job managing our money than what we currently have. And Tom Duden, way to go. You just keep it up. All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to be back for another half hour of the show before we get into women's basketball. Thank you so much for listening to Drive Time Nebraska. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Stick around.
From the Momo Pizzeria and Ristorante Studios, we are the voice of Lincoln. KLIN Lincoln. KDK HD3 Lincoln. K257GN Lincoln is 1499.3 KLIN. KLIN weather brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Cloudy and cool this evening with a 50% chance of rain, temperature dropping into the upper 30s by midnight. After midnight, cloudy and chilly with a 30% chance of rain, low in the low 30s. Friday, partly cloudy with a 20% chance of rain early, then mostly sunny, mild and breezy, high around 50. From the 1011 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Brandon Rector.
Your chance to win tickets to Andrea Bocelli at CHI Health Center is right now. Text OPERA to 402-479-1400 to win with KLIN.
Get the news and insights.
It's a source I can trust.
1499.3 KLIN.
Want today's top news stories? Top Husker stories? You can get them sent straight to your inbox every afternoon. Just sign up for the daily for free at KLIN.com.
Nebraska men's basketball is coming up next on 1499.3 KLIN.
It's official. You're a good guy. You take out the garbage, you smoke a killer rack of ribs, and you always make sure the lawn is mowed. And now it's easier than ever to take your good guy game to the next level by signing up to be an organ donor. Good guys save lives. And as a registered organ donor, one day you could save up to 8 lives. Get the facts and sign up today at goodguysavelives.com.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to goodrx.com/GLP. That's goodrx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
Lincoln is listening to KLIN News.
About 90 minutes later, police responded to a call of a rock thrown through the window of an in-home daycare.
From the newsmakers to the news breakers.
One of our troopers was able to deploy stop sticks to get the vehicle slowed down. The driver still refused to stop.
KLIN News has you covered.
Each year, more than 23,000 kids experience cardiac arrest, and nearly 20% are infants. You always say that I'm your whole heart. I believe you, and so does the American Heart Association. That's why this American Heart Month, they want to make sure that you and every other parent know CPR to make sure you are ready. Ready for when I come home? Ready as I grow? Ready to save my life when it matters most. Learn CPR today so you can be ready and become a part of the nation of lifesavers. Because no one, especially me, should face a life-changing moment alone.
Visit heart.org/nation to learn more.
Put your phone on D&D. That means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D. That means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always remember this beat.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Underneath the big sky, where the cornfields sway, in the heart of Nebraska, it's game day today.
Oh my goodness, why it just surprised me.
I
love this. Keep it going. Phil Nickerson, Nebraska Pride. Let's hear it right now.
Oh, the boys in red, they're fighting hard, with number 15 leading the charge. From the line to the end zone, they're giving their all. For the love of the game, they'll rise and they'll fall. With every cheer from the stands so loud, we're standing together. Nebraska.
All right, Wyatt, that was pretty awesome, I have to admit. Good job on that one. Phil Nickerson, that was great, man. We've had some, I tell you what, I'm going to miss being here because I've just had some great relationships and great shows and guests. And like Phil, we play that, before football games on the weekend, yada, yada, yada. So Phil, I hope you're doing good, my friend. I hope you're doing good. We've gotten all kinds of texts. We've been talking about the mayor's tax increase. I was going to do something different in this segment. It's a long segment, so I got some time, Wyatt said. So I'll just keep rolling here. I've got some information. So I just want to keep going with the mayor's desire for you to vote for a tax increase. Let's go to the text line. All right, let's see, we got text in. I don't think I see a name. Why isn't that fund? We're talking about the, oh my goodness, I'm going to go back because I just learned about all this today. The Community Health Permanent Endowment Fund, which has nearly $75 million in it, and they're only required to keep 37, keep up with inflation. And they've only given out 40 million in the last 27 years. So this texter says, why isn't that fund paying for the free nurses and dental visits? Right. Great questions. I like that. Oh boy, we got more. Oh, wow. Preaching to the choir. Please let us know your future plans. Thanks, Chad. I will. I don't know. The more I learn about all this stuff, the more I'm ready to run for some office. All right. Kathy says I'm wrong on this one. Okay. I like this. Renewal of $0.25 sales tax. The background info about wheel tax and others was written by Russell Miller from our neighborhood association. He's followed the city road situation for a long time. Before I add the lengthy piece, impact fees pay for new streets and infrastructure in developing parts of our city. In order to get the $0.25 sales tax passed, they had to make a bargain with the developers to hold impact fees. Without impact fees, citizens like me who live in the center of the city have to pay for all the streets in the new wealthy parts of the city. I'm going to add that article about wheel tax in a text to follow. Thank you. I appreciate that. I would send by email if I had an email address for you. Doug@klin.com. There you go. Doug@klin.com. Yeah, send it. But here's the thing. Why are we making deals? There's more money out there. That's my whole point. We don't have to have the $0.25 sales tax. I just laid out 10 ways for us to make up this sales tax without increasing your taxes. Kathy, that's what I'm talking about. So I understand this. Yeah. Who doesn't want more money? How about we manage the money that we have? All right, let's keep moving. The mayor has way too many pet projects that she has siphoned money from the budget to fund. It's embarrassing that we are being stiff-armed to increase our own taxes even higher. It is nuts that the impact fees would be frozen. We don't need to subsidize growth just because developers want the city to fund it. Growth should fund itself, and impact fees are the way growth gets funded. Harry, thank you so much. Kendall, there's a direct correlation between the amount of money given to the government or a particular program and the decline in the overall effectiveness and efficiency of the government pretending to address said problems. We must not forget this when we are being gaslit by politicians. Here's what I love about that comment, Kendall. If you ever, that's what I love about Treasurer Tom Breezy, open up the checkbook. We know exactly who's getting paid what to the penny. But Kendall, here's what I appreciate about what you said. If you go like I did today, and I'm going to go there right now. If you go to the city budget or any political organizational budget, and you see the line items there, they're large line items with no specifics. The state of Nebraska now has specifics thanks to Nebraska State Treasurer Tom Breezy. Way to go, Treasurer Breezy. You're a hero of mine. But if you go to these budgets, doesn't matter what political group, county, city, airport authority, thank God we have summer movie nights there. Because you're paying extra on your property taxes for one airline, high prices, and movie nights in the summer. So that's great. I need to go to one of those. Pay my taxes. May as well check out a free movie. But if you go to these line items, they're not broken down intentionally. When I asked the airport authority to send me their budget, they did. They did a great job. They sent me previous and current budget. But just line items, not broken down in who gets paid and who's getting paid for what. So let's look at the city budget. This is for the fiscal year 24 to 25. And revenues. This is interesting. Property taxes bringing in over $94 million, 33.3% of the overall budget or income that comes in, revenue. Sales tax generating $101 million. Occupation tax bringing in $4.7 million. See how this is going? Oh, here we go. Somebody asked about motor vehicle tax, bringing in $6.7 million. Permits and fees, $6.8 million. Let's keep going down here. Transfer from other funds, 3.7. Parking meter revenue, 1.4 million. That brings us as much as a gambling tax. County library tax, 1 million. Get this one. This is what I want to know about. I sent some information off today to find out where this is coming from. Interest income. You want to take a stab at why do you want to take a stab at how much interest income? No, he doesn't. Is bringing into the city revenue pot $15.8 million. Where's the source of that coming from? That's a lot. And then it goes down. You can go to the website. You can go to the city website and check all this out. You just need to dig and ask questions. That's it. Now, I know I'll probably get backlash on this one. Oh, now I need to find it. Oh, doggone it. I left one of my prep sheets back in my office, but it had expenditures on it. And let me just do a little bit, see if I can find it quick, because I'll probably get in trouble on this one. So you'll want to hang out. Can I find it? Oh, doggone it. I'm going to find it. Wyatt, I'm just going to take my time. I've got an extra half hour. Hold on. Parks and Rec. There's a lot of money that goes to that. Oh, I just found it. I know I'm going to take a hit on this one. Libraries. So for the fiscal year 24-25, they've got some library improvements of $250,000 allotted for that. Guess what they've got for appropriations for the year 25-26? $85 million. $85 million for libraries. Downtown Central Library, $70 million to probably relocate that. $70 million. $85 million. Oh, my friends. Do you know the antithesis to $85 million for city library expenses? Wyatt, do you know what it is? Nope, he's shaking his head. He doesn't want to know what it is. I'll give you it. I had to count on my fingers. 6 letters. It's one word. Google. Google it. The libraries at our fingertips, and I know people are going to say, but there are a few people out there that just can't access that. And I understand that, but $85 million? And the mayor's asking us for another 1/4 cent sales tax hike? Oh, I'm just reading budget. I mean, this is all public info. I got a lot of questions. All right. Well, should I get off of that one? Anybody else text in? I haven't checked. Wyatt says there is. All right. Tune in the feed is down. I don't know what that means. Mayor must have you shut off. Oh, are we not on the air? We are on the air. We're not on the air. We are on the air. Keep rolling. All right, got more information from Kathy. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Apparently the feed must be down. So Richard said the mayor must have had me shut off, which might be. Go to social media. Check us out on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, or you're already there if you're listening. So, all right. So we've got another 15 minutes here. So let's dig into county commissioners. How about that? So I've been talking about county commissioners for a long time. There's a tangled web that they are weaving with the county commissioners, and we've talked about this. And it all started out when Chelsea Johnson ran against David Russell, and then I dug in to find out who is funding Chelsea Russell's political campaign. And we find out that the start of that campaign is Next Era Energy. And then Panama Energy, who is taking over the solar farm and developing the solar farm east of Hallam, 2,400 acres worth. Ranger Power out of Chicago, many other organizations outside the state. Chelsea Johnson got nearly $250,000 in contributions, over $150,000 of that coming from out of state. Oh, it's not just her. I went down the list a couple of weeks ago of exactly who was giving campaign funds and how much to Chelsea Johnson. But I also went into Christy Yoakum, getting the same funds from the same people. She admitted during the Lancaster County Commissioners hearing, she admitted that she'd been talking to, whether she knew it or not at the time, to these people, because they've been donating to her. So the county commissioners went ahead and passed this, a solar farm that the people that were wanting this to happen were people that didn't even live around the solar farm. And the people that came in, it was 6 hours of a hearing of people against this, most people against this, specifically landowners around the project and people from Hallam, Cortland, that whole area. And Panama was represented by a guy there, along with their attorney, who's from the Lincoln, Omaha area, a law firm here. And Matt Schulte decided that he would ask if anybody had gotten campaign funds donated to them, and if that seemed weird. So I'm going to go ahead and play a clip on PC2 there, Wyatt. I'm going to play a clip of this, Matt Schulte asking the rest of the commissioners, hey, were your campaigns funded by any of these energy companies?
My final kind of topic that I'd like to ask you about, campaign finance was brought up. Did you or PEC or NextEra contribute to campaigns of county commissioners?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
You're not aware of contributions on September 6th to two county board members from Panama East?
We donate, I guess, to politically across the spectrum to candidates that support us. We do what we can to, yeah.
Yeah, but look, we won't guess at the answer. It sounds like you've got information there, and
yeah, so $12,500 given to total to two county commissioners, who then the day after the election, you guys applied for this permit. That's just really problematic for the public to look at that and feel like this is not buying votes. Do you see that? Can you see how that'd be problematic and potentially create a conflict of interest for county commissioners when considering this?
I understand what you're saying, yes. Okay.
All right.
I have more questions related to the vegetation management plan.
And I love it. Chelsea Johnson comes in to change the subject. Change it quick. Folks. Hurry, change it. Change it. Panama Energy's representative and their attorney, who is from Lincoln, Omaha area. I can't remember his name. I've got it down here somewhere. Are asked, did they contribute to any of the Lancaster County Commissioners up there? And they're like, First, I'm like, no. They're like, no. Then they're like, well, yeah, we do. Well, do you see how this could be a problematic for people who are voting these people in? Maybe there's conflict of interest here. Yeah, I guess I could see that. That's what the attorney says, right? Guess what we find out? The attorney contributed to Sean Flowerday's campaign. This is a web, my friends. This is a web. So here's one of the last clips I want to play from this. And by the way, I'm going to talk about us being off the air here in just a second if you're listening to it, because I got some funny texts in. I may have to go back and reiterate some of the things I talked about, because that was some big stuff. And you can go back and listen to the podcast too, kln.com, your favorite podcast service. So that last 15 minutes, you want to get a hold of that. There's some good stuff there. Somebody texted in, I think the mayor had you taken off the air. I think so too. She's going to be glad I'm gone after tomorrow. Okay, let's get back to Sean Flowerday. Oh, Sean Flowerday. He treated Matt Schulte. We went on this several weeks ago at one of the commissioner meetings, just very rudely. Played that clip. So Commission Chair Rick Vest, as they decided to go ahead and vote this through, Rick Vest says, you know what? Maybe we can add an amendment here where some of the landowners that are surrounded on multiple sides of their property by this solar farm, maybe we can ask this multi-billion-dollar company, maybe we can ask them to maybe contribute and compensate them financially for building this farm literally around me, because we had them on the air here. There were a couple of people, a couple landowners. They were being surrounded. One of them was being surrounded on 3 sides of their property that they just bought a year ago. They had no idea this was going on. So Chair Vest says, hey, maybe what we can do is add an amendment to this, that if we're going to approve this process and this project to go through, this multi-billion-dollar company could compensate these landowners. Here's Flowerday's response.
It also, I feel like we're picking winners and losers here. And I do agree that these are people who are going to be impacted by the project probably more than others, but I'm not with you here on this one. Okay.
Did you catch that? I'm going to play it again because the last time I played this, people were like, oh, I didn't catch it the first time. Listen closely to this.
It also, I feel like we're picking winners and losers here. And I do agree that these are people who are going to be impacted by the project probably more than others, but I'm not with you here on this one. Okay.
I'm not with you on this one because it feels like we're picking winners and losers. Commission Chair Rick Vest. That's what he's saying to him. And then afterwards they chuckle and say, hey, we can still be friends. I mean, was that all planned? I don't know. Made it look like they wanted to give him some help or not. But then Flowerday says, it feels like we're picking winners and losers. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Sean Flowerday, of all people, campaign supported by the attorney for Panama Energy, Chelsea Johnson, who's a commissioner, was your treasurer for your initial campaign. Chelsea Johnson gets paid for her campaign by all these energy companies and more, nearly $250 million worth. Christy Yoakum gets paid. All of their funds, Sean's fund, Krista's fund, I know Chelsea's obviously will, are supporting each other during the campaign. They're donating back and forth to each other. Vest. And you have the gall, Sean Flowerday, to say, I don't know if I can agree with this one because it feels like we're picking winners and losers. Doggone it. You've been picking winners and losers. So arrogant, so repulsive, so discouraging, and so damaging. Who did this hurt, Sean? Who did this hurt? Well, it hurt the landowners that overwhelmingly came out for 6 hours to tell you not to vote for this, which you didn't give them any hope. It hurts us taxpayers because we're impacted by this as you dig into all of it. How about David Russell and Jeremy Kuhn? David Russell got thrown under the bus by Chelsea Johnson the last 2 weeks of the campaign. David's funding in-state, pretty much all of it. Chelsea's funding, over half of the $250,000 out of state, $150,000 of it from a lot of these energy companies and other sources for green energy. How about Jeremy Kuhn running against Krista Yoakum? No chance when you got that kind of funding behind you, and you've got the energy companies have you all, except for Matt Schulte. Thank God for Matt Schulte standing up, doing his best. But all the rest of y'all, energy companies have you right in their back pocket, just carrying you around like little puppets. That's what they're doing. Of course you're going to pass this through. They fund you. See, these are the things that we need to talk about. There's nothing wrong with talking about it. It's all public information. The point goes back to this. Political trifecta, I drive it home all the time. City council, county commissioners, school board, day-to-day impact on your life and my life. And we have to vote the right people in. We have to vote the right people in. So I didn't get to this one. I need to get back to this one. This is the mayor's thing, because I don't think I read it or before we went off the air. So if you're listening now, get this. In the amendment that the mayor wants the city council members to pass to get this on the ballot for the quarter-cent sales tax increase for 8 years, it says this. Quote, this is what they're asked to pass, city council members. Quote, to ensure that Lincoln residents understand the issues surrounding needed street improvements, the options for funding them, and costs associated with those improvements, the city will engage in a robust community education and engagement effort, including hiring a professional consultant, Bullhorn Communications, at a cost of $248,396. Where's that money coming from? And it's all there to advertise to you and me to vote for our own tax increase. So now your taxes are going to support advertising to encourage us to vote for more taxes. This is ridiculous. It is absolutely nuts. It's ridiculous. We got to vote these people out, my friends. What am I going to do? I don't know, but I'm so irritated at this point. I think it's time for us to step up and run. We need good people running. We need people that are willing to dig into the weeds and say, no more, enough is enough. Ridiculous, ridiculous, ridiculous. Tom Duden, keep up the good work. Matt Schulte, keep up the good work. There are some people doing some good work. But when you have somebody like Sean Flowerday saying, we're picking winners and losers, pot calling the kettle black, you can say whatever you want. This is ridiculous. This is exactly the reason why we need to stand up. Oh. We're going to vote no to Lincoln on the move. We're going to vote yes to candidates who will get these current candidates or current politicians out and do a better job of managing our own money. All right. I want to thank Senator Deb Fischer. Love her to death. She was awesome. If you want to listen to the podcast of this show, go to klin.com. Wyatt, thank you so much for producing the show. There's only 82,800 seconds left until my very last show. Take advantage of everyone. Husker men's basketball. It's up next. Have a great night. Go Big Red. We'll see you on Friday.
KLIN, Lincoln's Husker Radio.